Wait, hold on.
Started recording there. Oh, you got her to leave. There go our YouTube views.
Yeah. Welcome to Thought Cops, the only podcast where every week we police the mean streets of the internet because, hey, somebody's got to do it. And then we let you be the judge, the jury, and the executioner of the court of public opinion, coming to you live from Neo Chicago. I am Officer Kevin.
I'm Officer Grant.
That was incredibly distracting.
That video,
yes.
that audio. I'm so glad that you have the focus to be able to do that every week.
It was challenging.
It's always a sprint to close the window and to have the video still going. Yeah. At the same time.
Yep. Little inside baseball for everybody at home. We
had some weird video of a costumed man playing drums.
Not sure why it was playing at the beginning of the show, but it's fine. We got through it.
It only happened for us. Nobody believes us.
Yeah, here we are still talking about it. So let's put a cap on that. Let's move on to the next segment of the show, which was thanking our guests from last time, which was us.
Completely unnecessary.
Thank you.
This week on Thought Cops,
we have a very special guest on the show. You may know him from behind the paywall on our patreon.com account. But you know what? He's more than just that. He also hosts his own podcast. He also does his own streams. He does it all, folks. That's right, everybody. I'm talking about Sleep Science, a.k.a. Josh. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
It's the least we could do. I mean, Josh, you've saved our asses at our live shows. You run tech for us because there's so much, we always manage to screw up something at those live shows. But the fact that
and the regular shows
and
everything
we're fuck ups. It's true.
You know what though? People that aren't fuck ups are liars. Everybody fucks up. Everybody is a fuck up, and we just proudly display it.
Yeah.
Everybody else that isn't displaying it, they're fucking liars.
I got the fuck up flag in my Twitter bio.
What's that? The Polish flag?
Yeah. Anyway, Josh, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. We freed you from your prison, from that wretched paywall.
I used to say always a fire bro, never a thought cop, but
That's
more.
That's fucked, man. Yeah. That's fucked. Speaking of fucked, tell us some more about some of your shows that you've been doing, because since we've known you, you've begun a process of doing some shows with some people in the Discord.
I have
a number of shows, so many shows that I can't even remember what their names are. Please state their names.
Sure. Well, I do 3 podcasts right now. One specifically with people from the Thought Cops Discord. So,
which, by the way, real quick, if you want to join the Discord, if you haven't been out in there already, scroll down to the episode description because we have a link to it in every episode. You can be one of Josh's co-hosts.
And you should join the Discord. I always advocate for that because the Thought Cops Discord, I've met so many cool people there. It's one of the better communities online that I've been a part of. It's really great.
It's weird that we've been able to not only network for ourselves, but create this network for other people, which I think is really fucking awesome. The fact that last time Garrett from Mega 64 was on, when he was oh yeah, I met Slime and did a song with Slime because of you guys. It's I'm glad to have facilitated literally anything that happened within it. By all means, that's why I like having these platforms and to be able to do this type of stuff and have this big collaborative project with everybody.
And that song was awesome. I don't remember what it's called, but people should
Silent Hillbilly.
Yes. But speaking of Slime, one of the podcasts I do is with Slime, and with IO Netrunner from the Discord as well, also from Discord News. People might recognize him.
Yes.
And that podcast is called Consumer Reports, and consumer is spelled with 2 O's.
Naturally.
CONSOOMER.
Am I doing the face?
Yes. You're nailed.
That's a mess. Did you see that? Because I'm like, you're looking around kind of confused. I was doing that.
Nice. But yeah, we talk about Marvel stuff in that podcast.
Is it like exclusively, or is it sort of like
so
a Podzuki-esque sort of like everything is Marvel now?
We'll see what happens with it in the future, but we started off as just covering the Disney Plus shows for Marvel. So we did WandaVision, we did Falcon Winter Soldier, and we just dropped an episode
The Mandalorian.
No, we're not doing Star Wars stuff. I draw the line.
Star Wars is a type of Marvel.
I guess you could say that. It might as well be.
Have you guys seen Teen Titans?
Like just watched it, or
Yeah.
Titans?
No, Teen Titans cartoon.
Oh,
the old one
from like 2002.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
You guys should talk about it.
I would.
That's a Marvel.
No, it's not.
I know.
I had to think about it for a second. I was like, are they?
It is a good show.
No.
though.
It's called Smart Humor, folks.
I did like that show a lot. But yeah, we also did Black Widow, and we're going to record an episode for Shang-Chi. So we're doing the movies as well.
Okay.
It's pronounced Shang-Chi.
It is actually. It's like Shang-Chi or something like that.
It's like a soft palate G sound.
Yeah. But then I also think it's not
I watched
Chi.
a whole
think it's like
video.
Z or something.
I watched a whole video on how to pronounce it right.
How long was the video?
It was TikTok.
Oh,
So it was short.
like
It was
12
to the
seconds.
point, yeah. It was this man that was yelling at me about my white privilege that I pronounce things in a very Midwestern-esque. And I was like, yeah, you're right.
Oh, the place you're from and learn to talk in?
Yeah.
You pronounce things that
I
way?
pronounce things right.
Well, I'm sniping discussion from that podcast a little bit, but they for some reason Marvel has been making it a point to like put a scene in their stuff. If there's like a pronunciation, they'll like hang a lampshade on it and be like, 2 characters will discuss how to pronounce that thing.
You know what?
What?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So there's like a scene where Shang-Chi is like, or I'm probably not even pronouncing it right, but he spends like 15 seconds explaining how to pronounce his own name to a different
In the middle of the movie?
Yes.
Okay. I guess I'll have to tune in and find out on Consumer Reports.
I am like fine with that in the sense that if people on TikTok are going to yell at me about my pronunciation, at least put it in the film so that I have like a reference point, you know?
Yeah.
And not just that I have to like search for the information. Like just put it, if you want me to say things right, just put it in the movie.
I mean, you're still calling it Pokemon.
Yeah.
So
I'll never stop. Because I feel like calling it Pokemon, it feels bad. It feels dirty.
Pokemon. There's an accent over the E. But yeah, so where can we find this program of yours, Josh?
Yeah, just look up the title, Consumer Reports, CONSOOMER.
Consumer.
Reports, plural. I think our base page is on anchor.fm.
Cheap. No,
Jesus Christ.
It's
that is the free one.
It is free.
We're paying for
Nothing
it
is
like
better than
idiots.
free.
But it's on a couple different things. It keeps showing up.
Yeah, it's on all major podcast platforms.
I listened to one episode and it has not left the top of my Spotify podcast playlist because I don't listen to any other podcasts. So,
wow,
there you go. So, Consumer Reports, that's one.
Oh, yeah. So I've got another one called Untwisted, which is really fun.
Oh, yeah. You've been doing that for a while, actually.
Yep. And we dropped an episode like a month ago, and we're about to start like getting into season 2 of the TV show we're talking about, which is called Round the Twist. It's an Australian kids show from the 90s, which is really weird and has a lot of like weird kind of off-color stuff you wouldn't expect to be in a kids show, like stuff that probably wouldn't have flown in the US.
Do you have an example of a good?
Yeah. there's an episode where one of the characters like lets a baby like suffocate for a while. There's one where there's an episode we haven't gotten to yet, and I'm really excited to get to this one, but there's a episode where one of the child characters' penis becomes a propeller.
This is children's programming.
Yes, this is a kid show, very popular kid show in Australia at the time. And I don't know much more about this episode. I just know that one of the children gets like a superpower where their penis becomes like a boat propeller.
That'd be so awesome.
Yeah. It's kind of like have you seen that I forget, is it like Sweden or somewhere where they have that show where it's like that dude with like the super long penis?
I couldn't begin to tell you.
It's this is like recent, like within the last year. There's some kid show in like one of the like Nordic countries, I think, where it's about this cartoon dude who has this like really like this extendable penis that he uses for all sorts of like random
like
things.
He uses it as like a what do you call the thing that Batman uses to like
utility belt? No, like, the grapple hook.
Grapple hook. Yeah, he uses it like as a grapple hook.
I think the whole show is just about like weird random things that he uses his penis for.
Unlock doors.
Yeah, there's like controversy around it because like obviously like Fox News got a hold of it and was like, this is crazy. This is why Nordic countries are fucked up.
Right. That's why countries are fucked up.
I thought it was because of socialism.
No. Well, that's the downside of socialism. Is you get an extendable penis.
Yeah, it turns out.
You get penis shows for children. Lots of penis shows.
So if you like penis shows for children, check out Untwisted.
Untwisted, the penis show.
Yeah, that's with some of my Australian friends, too, who, like, grew up with the show. So.
Lakembra, Zenki,
No.
Vis.
No.
Are there
None of them.
No. Are there other people?
People that you don't know. I actually have friends outside of you,
That's
Grant.
crazy.
Believe it or not.
Wow.
Look, the cat's made an appearance.
How about that? Folks, if you want to watch on YouTube, you can check it out. We can put up the full videos and you can see a cat walking around on the table. We
completely oblivious to what's going on.
Nervously watch, make sure she doesn't knock anything over. But it's a good time. You know, we're having fun.
I'm just eyeing that Goose Island glass over there on the counter, making sure that doesn't.
It's far
That'll
enough
be
away
fine.
from the edge.
Yeah. She seems more preoccupied with the
cables,
the technology ahead.
Yeah.
Speaking of technology at hand, we have been active on Twitch once again. We've returned to the platform of streaming, twitch.tv/ThoughtCops. We both streamed this past week. It was a lot of fun.
Finally.
It was one of those things where like I hadn't done it in like a long time, and I started doing it again, and I'm like, oh yeah, this was fun. You know, I stopped because I thought I'd be like doing more when things open back up. And then they closed up again, and
nobody's doing anything.
I haven't done anything anyway, so I'm like, I might as well stream. And I started off playing Super Metroid, which quickly ended up turning into a stream where we just were watching 90s and 2000s infomercials on YouTube.
Oh, cool!
Like all those commercials where they sell those like 36 song pack of the hottest rock songs in monster ballads.
You know what? I feel like that's an underutilized aspect of Twitch is that you can just like watch dumb shit like that.
Right.
I wish that I could do like more of that type of stuff.
It's easy. Just do a window capture because we were just talking during the game. I'm like, we just were talking about the commercials and I'm like, should I just play the commercials?
Yeah.
And we did for like 2 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, because my big task was finish playing Paper Mario, which I'm finally free of.
Congratulations.
It's finally over. It's done. Leo never left me a voicemail of congratulations for this episode, but that's okay.
Honestly fucked.
That is fucked up.
It was all leading up to this moment, but
he still has time, Leo, if you can hear us, which I know you can't because I can see who's in the chat, but
well,
he still has time to leave one.
But yeah, I mean, I'm thinking like maybe once a week one of us will, or twice a week one of us will on like a rotating thing or something like that.
We'll figure it out. I don't want to commit to a rigid schedule just yet. And I think
just like a drop in stream is fine.
For what because things were more restricted when we started doing the rigid schedule. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, I do want to do other stuff too. But I also, streaming's fun. I just don't want to commit to anything just yet. But stay tuned. Give us the best way to I'm just laughing because the camera or the cat's looking right into the camera here. The best way to find out when the streams are is just subscribing to us. Twitch.tv/ThoughtCops. Don't miss a beat.
Yeah, hit that little thing that gives you the notification. I don't know what that is. I always forget. There's something, there's like a bell or something where you get notifications, but do that, and then make sure to subscribe on YouTube if you haven't already. We've been doing video episodes. If everybody doesn't know at this point, subscribe on Patreon. We got a couple bonus episodes. We got a live chat. We got a bunch of shit. Go to patreon.com/ThoughtCops and read your options. And shall we move on? Is there anything else?
Let's move on to 2 Minutes of Hate, that very famous, very favorite segment of the show in which we like to blanket punish all that annoying random crap that we see on the internet every single day of our lives. I keep thinking I'm going to scare the cat away with like how loud I'm being, but like she's just looking like dead-eyed into the camera right now. Look at that.
Stone cold killer.
I think she's like watching. Yeah, look at that.
She's watching the TV.
She's watching us on TV. She's watching herself, actually.
She's like, who the fuck is that other cat?
Yeah.
I'll fucking kill that cat.
My 2 minutes of hate this week is other cats. I know my 2 minutes of hate this week is when you try to lock your phone and then you accidentally hit the volume up button and you take oopsie, didn't mean to take a screenshot. Don't you hate that? That's it.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's a big problem.
See, I'm trying to lock my phone, and so I'm listening to a song, and I'm locking my phone, and I try to hit the volume too, and then look at it. For example, for those who don't have iPhones,
it's like that on a lot of phones.
Yeah, fuck that. So you guys, you understand. Everybody can. This is universal. This is relatable.
Sure,
that's great. My 2 minutes of hate is my 2 minutes of hate is I'm tired. No, I don't want my memory gets erased. Every time that happens to me, instead of screenshotting it, it does a Men in Black thing where it wipes my memory.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, and I'm just like, I don't know what happened, but I don't want to know because that's why I don't want to.
Nebulizer.
Yeah, I don't want to take a screenshot. I don't want to know.
Is it the nebulizer, or is that something that makes old people breathe better?
That is, yes.
No, that's a medication delivering.
Yeah,
that's right, Josh.
What the fuck is the neuralizer?
Neuralizer.
Same difference.
There you go. You got there.
I can't believe that I got so close and just tripped and fell at the finish line.
Fuck it. Josh, 2 minutes of hate. Anything boggling? What the fuck am I saying?
Yeah, this was relevant to me a couple months ago, but I'm still mad about it, which is
seems healthy.
Complete lack of customer service for Facebook.
Oh, I remember this. Yes.
Yeah, my account got fully hacked, completely taken over. Overnight, they not only got into my account, but they managed to change the associated email address, the associated phone number, all of the methods that I might have possibly used to recover the account became unusable. And because there is literally no personal customer service that Facebook has available at all, once you hit a dead end with the recovery options, and you can just hit a complete dead end with that process, you're just shit out of luck. And I'm more mad at Facebook than I am at the hacker. I mean, at least the hacker got me,
with your pants down.
Yeah.
They're just doing their job,
Exactly.
Honest working Americans.
But it's so I just have no Facebook anymore, and I'm not mad about not being able to use Facebook because fuck Facebook. I was barely using it already, but I am mad that I lost like a lot of history,
like the photos and stuff.
Yeah, that's definitely one of those things I feel like I got to go in and like back up all of my photos, like because that's the only thing that's keeping me on that platform. It's just like, oh, I've had it since 2007. And I have photos that span all the way back to then. And I would like to have those, but I don't want to fucking sit there and download every single one. There might be a way to do that. But yeah, that's my big thing with that platform. It's just like, I hate it and I never want to use it again. But it's got a lot of photos on it. So I guess I'm stuck using it. And they own everything. That's another big thing is like you have to have a Facebook to use. I don't think you have to use Instagram anymore. But there used to be a lot of websites where it's like you can only log in with your Facebook.
Well,
or if you lose that login information, like you have to create a whole new account and shit, you know.
Oculus Quest, you have to have a Facebook account.
Exactly, that type of shit.
Which ties into this because, and you can find articles about this, if you have an Oculus Quest, there is a Facebook customer service that you can access through the Oculus Quest. And there are articles about people who have had their accounts hacked buying Oculus Quests just to get their accounts back.
That is insane.
It's incredible. And I'm not, if someone wants to buy me an Oculus Quest who's listening to this,
what's an Oculus Quest? Is it like an Oculus Rift, but a Quest version?
Maybe what I'm thinking about all Oculuses. Maybe it's just all Oculuses and I'm focusing on one of them. But I think that's one of the VR systems is the Quest. But yeah, we'll put my address in the description. And if you want to order me one, you can get me one so I can get my Facebook account back.
So buy Josh a VR headset so he can get his photos from high school back.
Thank you. Also, it's like it is unfortunately the main way I was sort of connected to like some old college friends, you know, like there were certain like events that like reunion events people will only post on Facebook.
Sure.
And now like I haven't gotten around to it, but I need to like contact a bunch of like old friends and be like, hey, just so you know, I don't have Facebook anymore.
Well, like, yeah, that's the thing too, is like for like there's very, very few things tethering me to Facebook anymore, but events, I mean, granted, there aren't many events happening anymore.
Right.
I knew you were going to fucking do that. I knew that if I said granted, I'm like, here he comes. But yeah, like even like we do events for like the live shows and stuff, and I just feel like the problem is just there's so many useless notifications on Facebook that it just completely clogs it all up, and just everything is like so irrelevant.
Dude, I don't go on Facebook anymore, but every time I do, I get like 15 notifications, like more notifications than when I was actively using it, and they're all just like, here's a friend suggestion. Here's a post, not even here's a post in a group like that you're in, but like, hey, this group that you're in, people are posting there. Like just weird shit that's like, hey, we exist. Look at this notification. And it's not even notifications for anything. It's not like someone liked or commented or did anything. It's just like, hey, Facebook, this is a thing.
Right.
IO Netrunner in the chat says Facebook dating is pretty good.
What?
Which I feel like, why not just use like any other app for that? Because
you got to spread out.
Yeah, I feel like so many people are like not on Facebook, so you're limiting.
Maybe more people are than we think.
I mean, it's great for hooking up with, I'm assuming, older folks.
Yeah. And why wouldn't you?
People who share a Minion meme on there.
You mean like geriatrics specifically?
Yes.
Like literally older folks.
Yes.
Not like the girl you had a crush on in high school that you want to rekindle something. Like literally old people.
Yeah.
If you're looking for an 80-year-old.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's like QAnon, about to QAnon article my way into some pussy. Yo, you like Q too? Damn, I didn't know that. I like that's just what Facebook mostly is now. It's just like relatives who are just conspiracy nuts now, and like the occasional like event, and then you miss the invite to the event because it's like buried in notifications from like someone's birthday you met at one party once in college. Like,
I hope Q officiates my wedding.
I mean, if you do meet on Facebook dating, I think that is.
Yeah. Have you all seen any commercials for Facebook lately? Because I've been getting into network TV a little. No, I'm kidding. But like, there's a couple shows that I watch that it's like you can only watch it on whatever app, and you get regular ads for it, which is garbage. But
because you're cheap.
No, I mean like something that's like live on like airing time, whatever sort of thing, you know.
Sure.
And there's these fucking weird ads that are for like, because I think we talked about one time the Facebook like prayer service or whatever, and they're getting into like weird occult shit and prayer shit because that's like their fucking target audience.
Makes sense.
Not like college kids that are looking to like be friends with people online, but just like psychopaths. And they're all this shit about like healing and chakra, and they do these commercials for like a chakra healing crystal group, and they just put that on the television, and that's supposed to be for their product in complete earnestness. Like, it's like they're making fun of them, but they're like, hey, if you're one of these people, use Facebook groups for this. And it's like, I don't know if this is insulting or if we think that these people actually have powers, but it's bewildering. I guess if you haven't seen the commercial, you don't know that, but.
So, Grant, what's your 2 minutes of hate, though?
Right.
Is it network television?
Network television. It's airplane food, actually. Josh, did you punish? I can't remember.
Oh, did you punish?
I thought you said you wanted the punishment was somebody would buy you an Oculus.
Oh, that is a good punishment, but
that's fine.
Yeah, someone has to IO Netrunner has to buy me an Oculus.
There we go.
I mean, he's given me other consoles, so it's only fair.
So he should just have to give you another one. Great.
Every console.
Yeah, I remember he went to one of the live shows like 2 years ago and gave you a Wii U.
He did, and then he recently gave me his Xbox One.
What?
He's just given me free stuff when he doesn't need it anymore.
So you're punishing him by stealing more of his stuff.
It's not a punishment.
It would be in character.
He likes it, so I'm helping.
It's not a punishment for him. He likes it. Next, we're gonna find him chained up in your basement.
I did let him crash at his place. That's why he gave me the Xbox One. He just reminded me of that.
Yeah, thanks for letting me crash on your couch, man. Here's a $400 console.
It's not that much anymore.
My 2 minutes of hate this week is we might have talked about this a little on the show, but I feel like we haven't talked enough about it. And I feel like it's one of those things, it's one of those wells that just needs to be tapped because it's just full of life-giving water that this show runs on. And it's just like mobile games. They're all bad, man. There's not a single good mobile game. Sure, there's been some okay mobile games, but like they're all terrible. And I remember like, you know, showing my age here, growing up in like the Newgrounds era, the addictinggames.com era, like there was a lot of dog shit Flash games, but there were a lot of like really surprisingly good Flash games.
At least they didn't have microtransactions, you know?
Microtransactions and just shit like that. And like, even if you opt out of like using your own money to purchase shit or whatever, like, usually they don't give you enough in the game to not use your own money. You know what I mean? Like, It's like, I remember when I was still playing Pokemon Go, they would give you the little like coins, and it's like, oh, if you save up 300 coins, you can buy more space for more Pokemon. And it's like, but that takes forever to do. So if you want to hold more of them, you just pay $10 and there's more storage space. And it's like, what? Why can't you just play the game and get better at the game? Like, you're already filling these games chock full of ads.
I don't know.
It's just a big fucking ad machine. Like, not that game in particular, but like every other game is just like in between rounds. Here's an ad. Here's an ad. Like, or you pay for it, but even the paid version is garbage. And they're just not fun. Maybe there are a couple that are like addictive. Like, there's a bunch of old people that still play Candy Crush and shit like that. There's still somehow people that play Angry Birds, but like, and those are like top tier and they're not that good.
I was going to say, like, if you think about, I feel like everybody's like, oh, you can't criticize mobile games because, like, people, when you were a kid didn't know about video games and they didn't, they think it's kind of comparable to say that's the same thing. But to me, it's like, it is kind of telling that Angry Birds has been around for like over 10 years and like no one seems to have any nostalgia or attachment to it.
Right.
And there's movies too. Like no one seems, it's like you think about like, Mario was around for 10 years. Everybody's like, oh, I love Mario. I love Pokemon. They have so many like great memories and stuff. Nobody gives a fuck about Angry Birds. Like nobody gives a fuck about any of these. It's all this like flash in the pan like crap.
And it's weird because technology's come so far and it's like fucking, maybe not 10 years ago, but like 15 years ago, 20 years ago, like we wouldn't have thought that you could have a fucking computer in your pocket. Like, it's insane. It's insane that there's a computer that goes in your pocket and you just use your fingers to fucking hit stuff. And like,
and the games are crap.
That's cool and that's futuristic. And why is everything bad?
I feel like 5 years ago, it made sense to like play mobile games if you were someone who like traveled constantly. Like if you're like someone who like is always on planes or trains for work or whatever. But now there's like the Nintendo Switch. So like, what's your excuse?
I mean, the Game Boy's been around forever. Like even then, it's like portable gaming has been existent.
Yeah, right. I can excuse it. Like before Nintendo Switch, there wasn't like a modern portable console that was like big, that was like well known. But now that is like, I don't know. Like you can just
you say that, but like I think that the DS and the 3DS pre-Wii and pre-Switch and stuff like that were some of the best selling consoles of all time.
Yeah, the DS is the most or the best selling
and like
console.
Again, store on the Switch, the online store on the Switch,
it's better for sure.
Has a massive library of amazing.
Like you can play full console games on this, whereas like even 3DS, DS, etc. It's like you're playing DS games. You're playing basically Game Boy games.
Yeah, but even for
they're a little beefed up or whatever. But it's like again, you compare even like fucking older games like Tetris to any mobile game. And it's like, I'll play Tetris until my eyes bleed.
Right.
And I can't fucking look at fucking Angry Birds. It's terrible.
I think
they're
like,
all terrible.
Part of it is like, maybe it's like the art styles part of the problem where they just look ass ugly.
I think it's partially that, but I also feel like there's so many different like, here's a good example. There was like a Digimon game, or maybe it was a Pokemon game that was coming out, and there was like the experience points or the coins or something like that, and it was like how many points you have, and it was like a ton of numbers. It was like 10 different numbers. Like, this is how much experience you've gained in this level is 8375309. And it's just like a string of numbers, and it's like, this is how you know that it's a bad game. And it's like, that's every mobile game. It's just how many points do you earn? A whole bunch of numbers. You get a bunch of numbers, that's your point. The points, they fuck all, it doesn't matter. Like, you compare that to like whatever other thing. It's just like that's every aspect. That's like every collectible, every this, every that. It's just like so convoluted. There's so many things happening. They can't do one thing right and just capitalize on that one thing.
Yeah, and like I know IoNetRunner in the chat here says I have a few games on my phone I open up for 5 minutes and then quit. I'm not booting up Zelda on my Switch like that. I guess like when I'm on my phone, I'm not going to boot up a game. I'm going to
open Twitter and get mad.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I mean, what he's saying is fair, but still, like, he's saying, "Oh, I'm not going to boot up Zelda on my Switch like that." But again, the
What's
Switch has
stopping
a
you?
massive library of like smaller, casual games, which are still better than most things you can play on your phone.
And again, to be fair to IO Netrunner's point, like if I'm jumping on the bus for 20 minutes, I'm not going to bring my fucking Nintendo Switch in my pocket.
Yeah, wait for that thing to like that big thing to fucking turn on. Yeah,
Right.
I get it. I get it.
If I was traveling enough, I'd probably get a Switch Lite. Probably. If I was like traveling,
that's fine. But I'm saying for like just like you're on the bus for 10 minutes. You're on your way here.
Then don't play a fucking game if you're on the bus for 10 minutes.
But I mean,
you're an adult.
Yeah, listen to a podcast, you fucking idiot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it's just like, man, like we really fucked the whole thing up. And I think, again, a lot of it has to do with microtransactions and like just the amount of ads. And I feel like it's come sort of back up to light because I've been getting more and more ads for just like shitty fucking games. And it reminds me of like, do you remember when that like Clash of Clans game got like a Super Bowl commercial and it was like Kate Upton and she's like half naked and she's like, build your tribe, conquer nations, stake your claim. And it's like, we're not buying this from you, a Victoria's Secret model.
Like who? I don't know. What's your punishment though for this swill?
Bring back Flash games, but for phone.
Stick figure deathmatch. Fucking
Stick
like
RPG,
school shooter game.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
There were so many
really tasteless stuff.
Offensive.
But it's still somehow better than
school shooter dating simulator.
Yeah, like and then here we are, like, I'm still not fucking downloading like fucking Candy Crush over the head. I'd rather play school shooter.
Do you remember the one that was like Spank the Monkey? And you just take the big cursor and you just try and smack the monkey.
That was a computer class classic.
Or like there was Kitten Cannon and you just shoot a kitten out of a cannon and it just keeps bouncing on different like hazardous things until it eventually dies.
Yeah.
Dude, there were some garbage games, but I spent so many years playing them because school sucked. And because the teachers like were too fucking stupid to know that like everybody's doing it at all times.
I mean, definitely like better quality of game than what you're describing. Although those did rule, obviously.
I mean, obviously
like,
there were some really terrible ones,
but,
but there were
the,
like some
the Trials like Flash like biking games where you'd like biking on a mountain. I don't know. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you don't know what I'm talking
the ones where like you tip side to side sort of thing and you have to I remember that type of stuff.
I played that for like
a lot of that like stuff was like really addicting. Just shit like that. Or like what was the one where like you're the little penguin guy and you draw the line rider?
Oh, this you like when you're sledding.
And there was like some really fucking interesting stuff with some of the stuff that people used to like make with that game too, and it just shows you like what you can do with certain technology and with certain capabilities. And at a certain point it does feel like the more freedom we have, the less it feels like it matters.
The more it holds us back. On that note, though, let's get to our top
freedom
stories of the
itself
week.
Is sort of a jail.
Freedom is under attack. Welcome to Thought Cops. If you haven't listened to the show before, every week we investigate the internet's outrage-inducing news stories, and then we sentence each perpetrator to a cruel and often quite unusual punishment.
I have since you said freedom's under attack, I have a good story to start with if you want to.
Oh, by the way, yes, should preface this by saying we're recording on 9/10/21, just one day
on 9/11 Eve.
Yes.
So if you're listening to this now, we may or may not be long gone.
Ooh.
So someone posted.
That's a dark implication.
What? The building would get bombed? Is that what you're talking about? No, but somebody put up this They found this book from 2002, Best Editorial Cartoons of the Year.
Is this like for the New Yorker, the New York Times, or something like that?
I think it might just be a collection of like all different kinds of
from different publications, I guess.
Yeah.
Again, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see in full high quality what we're talking about.
Shout out to IONetrunner and Leo the Incredible in the chat who said 9/11 Junior.
Why couldn't I think of that?
Because
because I try and block that from my brain every chance I get. Anyway, so this is just obviously a trip down memory lane and just chock full of just like garbage that somehow flew back in 2002.
It's ridiculous.
It's bad. It's the Statue of Liberty with
it has
massive
large anime eyes.
It's really like, honestly, it's like a good image. Like the idea is good, where it's like, yeah, the Statue of Liberty watching the towers go down, but just like, why do they draw her with these like big, like Snoopy eyes and like a big
freakish.
and like a big cartoon teardrop? I feel like that kind of demeans the whole thing a little bit.
I feel like a lot of these comics that we're going to talk about really demean all of 9/11, despite the fact that it does seem like the people that made these had the best intentions.
When I saw that image on my phone, I didn't even realize it was the towers in the eyes. I thought it was just like, I thought their eyes were just like bloodshot.
She's stoned, man.
So here's a good one. What do you call it when you kill innocent men, women, and children? And then it's a bunch of rubble, and it says a holy war.
What?
Yeah, so like this is like, I think it's easy to forget how worked up people were around this time. Like emotions were super high. And I mean, yeah, some of these are like borderline racist. But like I do like how even the ones that don't, like, so half of them are kind of labeled for like being like, you know, again, racist to people of the Middle East. And then there's other ones that are just like, that last one you showed just was like a big cloud monster. They just had the word terrorism written on him, or terror. And it's all this stuff where it's just like, we're just afraid of this simple word of terror. You know, it's like, so if you want to actually open up that one.
Get the fuck down right now.
What are you doing up there?
Beeb.
Get down. Sorry, everyone, that we're doing a show and that we're trying to get...
What is she trying to get on top of the...
Yeah, I think she's trying to jump onto the ventilation. She's fine going up there, though. All right. Anyway.
It looks fun.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, I do feel like there are a lot of, like, very powerful, very potent, like, political cartoons that I feel like have done a lot for all of humanity. And then there's stuff like this where, like, I don't know if it's just like the styling or what, but like this weird sort of smarmy humor of people doing one-liners about these very serious topics just feels very, like, Ben Garrison by comparison looks like a genius.
Yeah. I mean, it reminds me, like, they still do cartoons like this, but like this one is like particularly like egregious. So it's this America's hour of needing each other. And there's a black man who says, "To think I always hated cops." And he's holding up a cop who got shot. And the cop is thinking, "To think I always hassled blacks."
It's deep.
Yeah.
Like, there's something to be said about it, but like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like,
also, that didn't last long.
No.
This, like, black guy with, like, clear dreads and, like...
They kind of drew him, like, very, like, caricature-esque, which is probably not the intent.
I think I always hated cops.
You don't have to do the voice. But, I mean, I can go back and forth on that. I would rather it, you know... I guess be leaning more towards somewhat of like a depiction of like what people actually look like than somewhat of a...
Why is need underlined? Just America's hour of needing each other.
I don't know. And then like for the cop to like acknowledge his own racism.
Yeah.
In this time, like, again, I get that, like, it's weird revisiting this stuff because, again, like...
At least we both hate people from the Middle East, right? Like, that's the whole fucking point. Like,
But it's funny. It's like you're saying, Grant, there's an interesting element of the cop acknowledging his own racism, but then that kind of invalidates what the first thing says, which is like, he's like, to think I always hated cops, but it's like, yeah, but
you hated cops because he was hassling you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's admitting to hassling blacks. So, like, maybe you should hate cops.
Yeah. And there was like, I do feel like post 9/11, there was that sort of time where it's like, we're all coming together and it's, whatever sort of shit. And it's like,
for like 3 days. Yeah.
Yeah. For 3 days, we all came together. And for 20 years, we harassed people from the Middle East. But yeah, I mean,
it reminds me like the same kind of comic we still see like sometimes even now, where it's like the kids of the superhero, like they're seeing a superhero movie and they're pointing to like a nurse and it's like, that's the real superhero.
Right.
And the same people who are like fucking like saying they should lose their jobs if they get vaccinated, just like, well, at least I got to make a cartoon about it,
Yeah.
But there's this whole thread on Twitter with like a lot of these, and it really is like a crazy time capsule into. Right. And again, like this one is like saying like that it's like making fun of this like traditional, like they're not like they're not like making fun of their ideals for attacking the country. They're making fun of like the way that these people look. And they draw them like, oh, see, actually, he has a long beard and like bushy eyebrows. He kind of looks like the devil, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And it's like, again, it reminds me of World War II with like the Japanese propaganda.
Right. I mean,
and even like one of these comics, I forgot which one it is, but I saw earlier, like acknowledges that fact. And they're just like, yeah, hell yeah. And it's like, you admitted that thing from 50 years ago was bad. And then now you're like,
it's so like, because again, I feel like we were blind to this type of shit as kids, especially as kids that like grew up in like predominantly white neighborhoods that like didn't have to fucking think too much about this. It's just like you see an American flag and you start singing.
Yeah.
Well,
they make you. Yes.
Anybody remember
day.
that Disney Channel thing? Did anyone see that pop up recently where it was like the cast of different Disney Channel shows were like doing their like 9/11 promo videos where they're just like, I just see the flag and I just start crying. And it's like Christy Carlson Romano or whatever from Even Stevens. Like,
this is recent?
No, this is from like 20 years ago, but it's made the resurgence. And like, there was a lot of that shit at the time. But like, yeah, I mean, to see some of this imagery and to remember back to those times and shit like that. And like, yeah, I mean,
it's a weird time to go back to.
It's weird to think that we lived through this level of like blatant racism. Like, like it felt like growing up that a lot of that shit had been sort of like pushed behind us. And, like the whole joke of like, the Obama era was like the era of like post racism or whatever. And it's just like, man, I was 10 years old when this comic came out. I was like 12 years old when this comic came out. Like, this is insane to think about.
Yeah.
So people are obviously in a bit of an uproar over this coming back to the limelight. And,
I got a punishment, though.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Heathcliff cover this.
Is this the one you were talking about?
Yeah. But like, Heathcliff is like standing on ground zero and everybody's like wearing these like hats that say like fish on them. And he's like, oh, I guess I didn't get the memo. And it makes just about as much sense as every other Heathcliff comic. If you've seen one where they're like, the joke is just that there is no joke, I guess.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So anyway, top tier political humor from Heathcliff. I think that we deserve nothing less.
Children love the Freedom Tank.
Speaking of children, though, let's move on to Steve from Blue's Clues came back. Little blast from the past there. Now, I was definitely too old for Blue's Clues when it came out.
Yeah, same.
Like, I already knew the alphabet.
Yeah, and that's really what it was. They're like, I mean, maybe can you find the salt shaker? And you're like 10 years old.
Maybe I watched it sometimes like as a refresher, just like if I forgot what came after M.
Right.
I'm like, oh, fuck, what the hell? I got to watch an episode. Okay, cool. Got it. So Steve from Blue's Clues, who I want to say that guy, isn't he in like Flaming Lips or something?
I don't know.
I'm pretty fucking sure that the guy from Blue's Clues, Steve, is like in
I know
Flaming Lips.
he like was in
wrong,
a couple bands and stuff. I think that was part of the reason why he left. He was balding and he wanted to play music. So those are the two
Tale
reasons.
as old as time.
I actually haven't seen this, so
this will be a fresh watch for you.
So there's this video was posted on Twitter this week. We'll watch it now.
Wait, and so was there? I guess. Was there like outrage about this? It seemed like a double-sided coin to a certain extent.
We'll watch the video,
All
see
right.
how we feel.
See how we all feel.
Hi. You got a second? Okay. You remember how when we were younger, we used to run around and hang out with Blue and find clues and talk to Mr. Salt and freak out about the mail and do all the fun stuff. And then one day I was like, oh, hey, guess what? Big news. I'm leaving. This is my brother Joe. He's your new best friend. And then I got on a bus and I left. And we didn't see each other for like a really long time. Can we just talk about that?
Sure.
Great. Because
okay.
I realized that was kind of abrupt. I just kind of got up and went to college.
what?
And that was really challenging, by the way.
Take the head off.
Because I got to use my mind and take a step at a time, and now I literally am doing many of the things that I wanted to do. And then look at you, and look at all you have done, and all you have accomplished in all that time.
Yeah, it's just almost kind of insulting.
It's just so amazing, right? I mean, we started out with clues, and now it's what? Student loans.
Awesome.
And jobs, and families, and some of it has been kind of hard. You know? I know you know. And I wanted to tell you that I really couldn't have done all of that without your help. And in fact, all the help that you helped me with when we were younger is still helping me today, right now. And that's super cool. I guess I just wanted to say that after all these years, I never forgot you. Ever. And I'm super glad we're still friends. Thanks for listening.
No, actually,
You look great, by the way.
I actually deleted you on Facebook.
Whatever it is you're doing.
It said Blue's Clues 25th anniversary.
Yeah. So I did see in the Discord, like, Nico was
People
talking
were
about how
debating
this is just
this.
like marketing.
Yeah,
It's definitely,
whatever.
I don't know. It's kind of sweet. Like, it feels kind of genuine on his part. It's definitely,
Yeah, I would say so.
It's definitely sappy.
I mean, have you guys heard him like sort of talk about his experiences with the show? Because like some of the things that he's said have been wild, and I can't remember like where I heard this interview. Maybe it was like he was on Howard Stern or some shit like that, or maybe it was somewhere else. But like he said, it was like, I mean, like to show up at like a children's birthday party as the guy from Blue's Clues, and kids were like, holy fucking, he's like, that just like that, there's nothing that can compete with that like in his entire life. But that also there would be women with weird fetishes where they would be like, can you put on the shirt?
Wow.
Like weird fucking shit. So like there's definitely some sort of like, he's obviously very attached to like what he's done and stuff like that. And whether or not this is sort of like a marketing thing, like whatever, I think that there's definitely like a certain aspect to certain things like this. And, you know, that people like, even if you look at it from a perspective of like, oh, they're trying to sell you shit. It's like, yeah, everybody's trying to sell you shit. I'm trying to sell this podcast right now, but it doesn't mean that you can't be like authentic or whatever the fuck, you know?
Yeah, I feel like they probably asked him to come back and do some kind of message, but maybe
they're
he,
doing like a
wrote-
big thing with like all of the hosts of the show where they got them all back on for whatever, you know?
Right, but he still
an
might have like
episode or
written
something.
that himself.
Right.
Yeah, by the way, he was in Flaming Lips. Or
Oh, was
maybe
he?
Still is. I don't know.
That's
Huh.
cool.
Yeah. How about that?
How about
How old is
that?
he?
So
47.
IoNetRunner says,
Damn.
why can't you guys just enjoy stuff? Have you ever considered you're the villains? I consider that all the time. And I'm right.
I've
Hey,
never
we're-
enjoyed anything.
We're the thought cops.
Are we saying we don't like it?
Well, there's some people, I guess, that were like,
No, are we saying we don't like it right now?
Maybe he was getting
No, I don't-
ahead of us before we like softened on it. Like he might have said that before we like started.
well, yeah, because that was my question going into this, because it was like, okay, this is like fine. You know, again, I didn't fucking watch the show. I didn't relate to it, but like maybe some people that did got something out. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I just brought it in because it was like the thing on Twitter this week, you know?
Things on Twitter this week, the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like, I will say though that I was kind of surprised that like there was even people reacting very emotionally to this who were like older than us even to some extent.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, like, weren't you like 13 when the show was on? Like, what attachment do you have to this, you know?
Yeah, I guess that there's something about just like, because like even if you didn't watch it, it's like we all knew fucking the guy from Blue's Clues. Like
Yeah.
that was just like a thing or whatever. And it's like, oh, just to see him as that guy again does sort of like invoke memories and just sort of like a nostalgic longing for like the way things used to be in a certain sort of way.
Pre 9/11.
Pre 9/11, exactly. Yeah, I mean, to a certain extent, yeah. I do feel like the two defining moments of my entire life were 9/11 and fucking COVID.
I will
Those
say,
are the two things that have just defined everything in my life, I feel
I
like.
know, I forget who said
Like
this. It might have been
genuinely?
somebody in the Discord. It might have been somebody on Twitter. Point is, it wasn't me, so I'm trying to give credit to somebody else. But they said
Right.
that Steve weirdly disappeared as soon as we entered the war in Afghanistan. And then now that we pulled out, allegedly, Steve shows up again.
That's a good point. I mean, is this going to be one of those things where like, do y'all remember when people would be like, did you know that Mr. Rogers actually has tattoos all over his body? That's why he always wore sweaters. And he started working with children because of all the horrors that he saw in war. And
Isn't
he
that
just
fake?
Yeah, it's fake. Yeah, it's like the millennial version of that.
Yeah, basically.
But, I mean, comparatively, every once in a while, I'll stumble onto a Mr. Rogers video of like him talking about like whatever, like whatever the fuck it was. Like, here's Mr. Rogers talking about racial inequality, and like listening to that man speak always almost makes me want to cry. I don't know what it is about his fucking
He was
voice.
amazing.
You
He was
see,
amazing.
I feel like I watched more Mr. Rogers as a
Yeah.
kid than Blue's Clues,
I
even though it was
definitely did,
well
yeah.
before my time. But it just was like
it?
Mr.
'Cause
Rogers. Yeah, I want
it
to say it was
was
like from the
on-
70s or something. It just
But
was
it
on.
was on the air for a long
Right, it was on
ass time.
syndication. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I think
It was still on.
I think it was still doing
Like
new
new
episodes.
film,
new
when we were-
episodes
when
up
we were kids.
through
Yeah.
the 90s, at least until
Yeah.
the 2000s.
Well, yeah, I guess then. Yeah, I mean, shit, I don't remember that much, but yeah, I remember watching him on like Sunday mornings and stuff when I
Yeah,
was like
yeah.
of that very young age to
Right.
appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, like, I'm not gonna come at this from like a cynical angle. Like, yeah, I mean, I did see like a lot of younger people who thought that this was cool and nice, and that's great, you know. I just you know, and keep in mind, you know, the skeletons that may or may not be in his closet from what he saw overseas. And you know, he may be a little different, a little
Right.
jumpier now than he used to be, but it is still the same Steve you remember.
I guess part of the thing that
Just don't take him to fireworks. You should be fine.
Oh God. Jesus.
Wait, Greg. Greg, you were just
What?
because it is the eve of 9/11.
This country sucks.
You
Why don't you leave, Kevin? Why don't you leave? Why don't you go back to a different one?
Yeah, go back to where you came from, where I'm from.
Go back to Glen Ellen.
were you? I wanted to ask, were you being genuine when you said like 9/11 and COVID, like kind of?
No, absolutely. Like when I
Yeah.
think, because I've been thinking about this a lot, like in terms of like
See, for me, it's Mario 64. And I'm just kidding.
No, like in terms of large cultural generational shifts, like when you think about a lot of the decades prior, and again, this is from like listening to a lot of Mark Fisher lectures on like capitalist realism and acid communism, but like the defining characteristics of each generation were like the 70s were distinct from the 80s, were distinct from the 90s for like in terms of media, movies, music, like there were all these like definitive characteristics that we can all point to. And you think of like post 9/11 was just post 9/11. And now it feels like the big 9/11 now is like COVID. Like it feels
every
like,
day is a 9/11.
It feels like there were the 90s. I grew up in the 90s and I remember what the 90s felt like. And ever since 9/11, it's just been post 9, like that's been my entire life has been post 9/11.
Sure. I feel like I didn't appreciate post 9/11 though, like at the time as a kid, as much as I do now, because like there was so much going on in my head when I was a kid.
Bills to pay,
mouths to feed.
I had a lot of emotional shit when I was a kid.
Hey, we all did.
Yeah.
That's why we're podcasters.
So
that's a defining characteristic.
9/11 obviously like had its impact, but I feel like when I hear other people talk about it when they're looking back at it, it's like had more of like a cast more of a shadow on their life than I feel like it did for me.
I definitely don't feel like it was a personal thing. I feel like it was a cultural thing.
Yeah.
Like that's when I feel like a lot of things just became less like the concept of like trust in government. Like things like that when you start seeing like the TSA become more and more of a prominent sort of thing, like just sort of like not even just the act of 9/11 itself, because I feel like that was one of those things that like we're all over. Like we know people died, it was bad, it was a horrific tragedy, but it's not exactly that act, it's everything that happened after that. And any time that we talk about like, oh, we can't give health care to people, it's because we're doing these fucking wars overseas that are costing $20 trillion. Like,
isn't it kind of sad though
shit,
that like
know?
The fact that you say like those are the defining moments of your life, and those are the defining moments
cultural
of like,
moments.
yeah, but like these like that, even still like the defining moments of like shifts in culture, like pre 9/11, post 9/11, just the fact that like we have like the biggest landmarks like that we collectively all have are these like horrible things. It's like,
yeah,
that sucks that like that's kind of how, I don't know if our brains are made that way or that's just the way our society is built around, where it just takes like this mass trauma where it's like, oh, that's the big thing. Like, there was never like one big nice thing we all remember. Where, you know,
right.
Remember the time Santa Claus, you know, or whatever the hell, like some like big, like some big great thing that happened.
Right.
There's never like a pre and post like good thing.
I mean, I think that there were in certain instances, and I think a lot of times like the media sort of played into certain portrayals of those things. And like how we sort of understood them as being and stuff like that. And a lot of people look at like the Reagan era as being like, oh, this great time. And it's like, yeah, maybe great if you're a rich white person, not so great if you're like black and in the inner city sort of thing. But like it does feel like before 9/11, like the big fucking cultural moment was like Pearl Harbor and then the big World War. And then everything after that was sort of like, you know, I guess like we were in Vietnam for a time.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that like felt like necessarily.
I think Vietnam was huge.
It was a little bit like this.
Definitely huge, but
people talk about how crazy living through COVID is, but I would rather I think I would rather have lived through COVID than through Vietnam.
Well, again, you didn't, so it's like you don't have to.
No, I know.
Think about that.
But just like
I own that runner says that. So brave.
Listen, I'll take 2 more COVIDs for the team. I'm just saying.
Over one war you wouldn't have even had to go into?
Exactly.
I don't know, man.
Well, the draft was still enacted back then, so like you wouldn't have had a choice.
Yeah, no, you can just wear a mask
I'm
now.
Jewish,
Yeah, you can just wear a mask now.
Was that a thing?
But my dad managed to use what do you call it, conscientious objector due to religious reasons.
Huh.
To get it going.
Wow.
And thank fucking Christ. Like, if someone wants to give me shit for my dad not going to Vietnam, I'm just gonna be like,
I mean, I didn't know I could before.
Went to Vietnam, I'm gonna laugh at you and be like, haha, your dad went to Vietnam.
My dad was a draft dodger and gets angry that Muhammad Ali was a draft dodger. I am not kidding. What do you think you can glean from that information? Just take a wild guess.
Do, do, do,
Oh,
do,
man.
do, do, do.
Anyway,
No, but yeah, remember
Steve
when,
from Blue's Clues, what's your punishment?
I was just gonna say, remember when the Blue's Clues guy like thanked us for being a part of his life? Like, that's
Yeah.
a big cultural moment for all of us. I think we can share that.
whatever.
Yeah,
I don't
sure.
give a shit.
Steve from Blue's
No,
Clues.
let's
I just
Punish him.
don't want to wear a mask, okay? It hurts. It hurts when I wear the mask. I don't want to wear it. I would rather go to a foreign country and blow up 100,000 people that don't look like me and give them deformities and destroy their economy for generations afterwards than have to put a thing on my face. I can't breathe through it. I'm getting brain damage.
Timely. Relevant.
You know what shit pissed me off?
Why?
When Steve from Blue's Clues is looking right at me and he's like, what? Do you see a clue? And it's right behind him. Big fucking blue paw print.
Fucking
I
moron.
think the punishment is that he has to
And I'm yelling at him in the TV screen. He's not listening to a thing I'm saying.
he has to get Blue put down.
I'm pretty sure Blue died like a long time ago.
Blue is a simulation.
And I don't know, man.
We all I took the blue pill, so
I want Neil deGrasse Tyson to start to do a YouTube video where he's talking about actually, did you know Blue from Blue's Clues is actually part of the bigger simulation theory of the universe? Like, shut the
Neil
fuck
deGrasse
up.
Tyson's like, did you know the Rugrats are actually cartoons?
Did you
Yes,
Did
they're
you
not
know
real.
the Rugrats were actually supposed to be called the Regrets because they were all aborted?
what are we talking about anymore?
Let's talk about the hottest new television show called The Activist.
I'm pulling it up.
So if y'all like reality TV, here's a new one for you. Get ready. It's called The Activist. It's where activists go head to head in challenges to promote their causes, with their success measured via online engagement, social metrics, and hosts' input. How about that? How exciting! So instead of
Oh my god. This is like tiring.
I'm just laughing at this response.
That's the turtle.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that. Yeah.
Throw that in the chat. You got to put that in the chat.
Yeah, I was actually trying to get this person on the show at one point, but
The dog?
no, the person who posted it. But what I was going to say was like, why not just get the money to the people who need it instead of having to spend all this money on production?
No, we have to give money
and
to
hosts.
influencers. Influencers need more money. They need to drink more Bang energy.
And
They can't afford it on their own. It's $3 a fucking energy drink.
all that money spent on craft services could have been like feeding like hungry kids, but it's like feeding like obese Teamsters who are working on the set.
This is not a reality show to trivialize activism. On the contrary.
Oh, is that the update at the top of the article?
No, it's
Yeah, updated statement. So basically what happened, this article on deadline.com, I guess came out, and there was such an incredible backlash that they had to release a new statement after contacting the people that had made the show. Or
Yeah, I got heartburn
Jesus
too.
Christ.
Like I have to like every other word I can't like say. I'm like I've had like air bubbles coming up through my chest the entire episode. It's been torture.
smells terrible here, guys.
remember when you said, I need to start eating more cheese pizza? I need.
And we did.
My doctor told me.
And we did.
We did.
I just was thinking about it. You know?
So there was such a big backlash with this fucking shit that they reached out to these people and they're like, hey, explain your show better. People don't like this. They don't want this. So any more thoughts?
I don't know. This just sounds tiring. Like
it feels dystopian for one thing.
Reality shows about activism. Awesome.
It's about the ideal, the cause. Maybe people will want to replicate it on their own. Sure, maybe. I guess I could see that. But it just like it feels so like.
I mean, it feels like they're trying to capitalize on actual movements for like the betterment of humanity. Like,
right, and there's like a ratings number. Oh, this will be good for our Nielsen ratings.
I mean, I hate to go cliche with this, but it feels like an episode of Black Mirror. Like,
I was just thinking
it's 100% just like. Do you remember the episode with what's the guy's name? Daniel.
Craig?
No,
Kaluuya?
Daniel Kaluuya, is that his name? The episode of Black Mirror with him where it's like he fell in love with the one girl and then
is that him?
Yeah.
Man, I forgot it was that actor. That's a great episode.
Yeah, that was him, right? Yeah.
Reality show
where he's like doing the biking or whatever, and he's on that reality show, and they just like all of his like pain and trauma and shit like that, they just like commodify it, and like as a result, he becomes this rich guy with just like no message and just has nothing to offer humanity other than like this performance. Like,
sure,
it feels just fucking like that, you know. What this says, first of its kind competition series that will inspire real change as the series progresses from whatever. They one of the winners goes to the G20 summit.
They're competing against each other?
Yeah.
To see who can be the best activist?
And again, do you think that it's going to be real activists that are on here, or do you think it's going to be like influencers?
I feel like if you're going to be an activist on a reality show and you're competing, like you don't want to do something that's like, oh, we're going to have to show a lot of like disturbing images related to what my charity's for. So like, we're not going to do like cleft lips or like kids with Down syndrome.
Or us blowing limbs off of people in the Middle East. Like we can't show that on television because that's not good for ratings.
Right.
Like there's a part of me that looks at like this entirely sanitized portrayal of what is activism and what is like acceptable and non-acceptable in terms of like just the optics of a lot of social movements. And like the more I think about it, I get this like visceral sickness that like the things that is acceptable for people to sort of talk about and try and make change about, if it's palatable to, why are you taking a picture of me? Oh, you're taking a picture of the cat.
Fuck you.
The things that are acceptable and palatable seem like the things that like just get written off immediately.
Yeah.
You know, and it's this frustrating thing where it's like, yeah, in terms of like, I don't know, peaceful demonstration, blah, blah, blah. Like I think we would all prefer that to violent insurrection and revolution, right? But like, there's part of me that looks at like how the women's marches were treated versus like how a lot of the Black Lives Matter protests were treated, and how there was just like this unilateral derision of the entire movement of Black Lives Matter, like from every fucking point. And I saw like this one video of like the difference between like a protest and a march, and how marches are like great for the economy because like you throw a march, it's like a big networking event. You go to a march, you have fun, you put on a fun little hat, you do a walk down a street, and and like you book a hotel, and the hotels make so much money from these different marches that people have, and you do a protest where you're like, hey, we got to stop killing fucking innocent people, and like it's just like nobody will stop at any ends to be like, you can't, let me tell you how to do this, like this isn't good for the economy, you can't be. And it's just like, man, it really creates a pain in my head to look at the way that people want things portrayed and sanitized and shit like that versus the actual reality and nature of like, if things are fucked, maybe it's okay that we sometimes have fucked reactions to them. I don't know how to describe what I'm feeling any more than that, but like this makes me very angry.
Yeah.
Like, but what if it was like Shark Tank?
Right, exactly. Like, oh, tell us why you think that black people shouldn't be shot by cops when they're unarmed. Like, pitch it to us.
Well, you see, when I look into those,
yeah, you don't have to do the whole. You don't have to do the whole thing, but
We could pretend, sure.
you can, yeah. Pretend
I'm
I'm
role play for like 5 minutes, guys.
Pretend I'm Usher, who is one of the hosts of the show.
That's why Usher?
I don't know. So it's we should say the hosts. It's three hosts. It's Usher, Priyanka Chopra Jonas, and Julianne Howe.
I don't know.
I have no idea who that is.
These three people.
I feel like I maybe know who the one in the middle is, but it's eluding me. But Usher. Also, I guess they had to stick a face on it that people would go, oh, that's Usher.
Also, the name of whatever this organization is doing this show, Global Citizen, like that itself sounds like dystopian.
I mean, again, I feel like this will turn more into like, hey, if you have like an actual problem with what's happening in your community, if you have a problem with the government manufacturing crack and distributing it through the ghetto, go on a television show. Like this is how you're supposed to do activism. This is how you're supposed to do protests. You don't disrupt and you don't make a big fucking deal of things. You don't show like your actual pain. You don't like go through a process of like trying to change things and fix things. Go on a TV show, make a YouTube and get 500,000 followers on Instagram and then apply for the show. And if you're too controversial, then you didn't do it right. But this is what activism is. It has to be palatable to the masses, even if your concept of like what you're trying to do is inherently against the systems that like.
Speaking of controversial, I do have a punishment for this.
Yeah, I'm outraged. Tell me.
Because, these three hosts, they are nobodies, okay? No one cares about these people.
All right.
We only need one host for the show, and he's a certain former game show host who's out of a job right now.
Alex Trebek.
And he's got a little catchphrase that goes something like, "You're fired." That's right, everybody.
Honestly,
Donald Trump
from Twitter.
Yeah, Donald Trump from Twitter. Remember, you know Donald Trump from Weird Twitter?
Yeah.
They should make him the host.
Yeah.
You pitch him the activism and see what he thinks, This guy was president of America during all this crazy stuff going on up until recently.
I mean, honestly,
I think he knows a thing or two about activism.
This would make such a good mockery. That would make such a good mockery of the entire format and aesthetic of this show that I would be 1,000% for that.
Yeah, that'd be a mess worth watching for sure.
That's what I'm saying.
All right. I guess, is that the last story? Should we get to...
Is there no other news this week?
No, that was plenty. That was more than enough that I can handle.
All right.
Let's move on to something nice, something good, something swell, something key to the something city, something good, positive. We give it the key to the city to Neo Chicago for something cool we saw this week. My key to the city goes to this Bart Simpson-esque school prank that happened, Grant. If you'd like to pull up that Twitter link.
I saw this. This is good.
I haven't seen this, so this will be a pleasant surprise of sorts. Oh, actually, I did see this, and it is very good. Let me just fill this dead, silent air with
the video.
sound. And here is the video for everyone's viewing pleasure. Again, subscribe to us on YouTube.
Yeah, you can see us fumble.
You guys work for us in this
so good.
Environment. You answer to us, and I'm asking that you do not
this is
pass
like a
this
school board
policy
meeting.
in Virginia.
If you could.
Thank you so
in
much,
this
Ms.
county.
Thomas. We do appreciate you. Phil McCracken. Phil McCracken. Sook Mahidik. Luke Mahidik. Ophelia McHawk. Ophelia McHawk.
Just no realization.
Eileen Dover. Eileen Dover. Don Kiddick. Don Kiddick.
I think Don Keatic is one of my favorite ones.
Wayne Kerr. Wayne Kerr.
Just him saying it so matter-of-factly is
So checking him off, I'm not here.
It gets
Okay.
better and better as it goes on.
Right, yeah.
It's like each name after another, and there's still no realization. Like, man, some of these, like you'd think he might get a little suspicious at one name, but be like, that's got to be a coincidence. But then he would say the next name, and be like,
Right.
oh, okay, I see the pattern.
And I feel like they picked the right names, because you can go overboard with that shit,
Right. And he delivers them perfectly. Like the way he reads them is
Don Keatic.
I need Amanda hug and kiss. Wait a second.
Right, like if someone would have put Amanda hug and kiss,
right.
you would have been like, come on, this is a serious meeting. But he flew through that list of names.
I would say he gave them all appropriate attention, just to make sure if they were present or not. Because, maybe he did recognize there was a pattern and be like, well, hold on a second. Donkey Dick could be here.
That's just like the kind of great, it's like not political. It's just nice, immature, juvenile bullshit humor.
Yep.
Speaking of 9/11 and this level of do you all remember when there was something happened with one of the Asiatic airlines, and on the evening news someone tricked one of the reporters with the teleprompter of a bunch of different names of here were the pilots that were on this flight that crashed into the ocean, and it was Some Ting Wong. Do you remember that?
Might have missed that one.
That was maybe 2012 or something. Ao Bang Ding or so, just horrifically offensive, racist sounding.
I think I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
Anyway, Josh, what's your key to the city?
Oh,
something good.
Honestly, my key to the city for Neo Chicago goes to Neo Chicago.
Woo!
I just things aren't amazing, but
You're telling me.
compared to the rest of the country, our city has been doing okay.
Yeah, we've had some wins this pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do feel like our governor has handled it better than a lot of other governors, all things considered.
Yeah.
I'm even though it's
I mean, he didn't go to Cancun or anything like that during a
Right.
blackout.
yeah, I mean, it's yet to be seen how things are going to go from here, but currently I'm fairly happy with where things are at. I've been able to go out and enjoy the city again. It's felt really good. I moved to a new part of the city earlier this year.
What's the address?
999. Yeah.
Don't-
I had a bit going there. You'll just have to believe me. But yeah, I'm enjoying things being open, but the city still, like, there's a mask mandate in place right now, and I think that's a good thing.
I don't care. You know, I'm fine with the masks. At this point, I don't fucking give a shit anymore. I'm looking for cool, new, stylistic, aesthetically pleasing masks.
I know I hear a lot of people say this, but I cannot trick myself into thinking I like the masks. Am I still going to wear them? Yeah, sure. But like, I would rather not. I would very much rather not.
Sure. I would rather not. But, you know, I've treated myself worse.
Right. I mean,
but right now they're doing what they need to do.
Yeah.
And I'm no fan of Lori Lightfoot, but, you know, Lori Lightfoot and Governor, you know, they're doing the right things when it comes to COVID right now. And I'm getting to enjoy the city and enjoy hanging out with my friends. And, you know, I've had a good summer, so I just want to say my key to the city goes to the city of Neo Chicago.
Giving it back.
Yeah.
My key to the city this week goes to the movie Blade Runner, which I've recently revisited. Now, I know in an episode of Fire Bros, we reviewed Blade Runner 2049, and I talked about how I really liked that movie. But the first time that I watched Blade Runner, I thought it was very boring, and I didn't like it. And so now I finally got around to rewatching the original Blade Runner, and I liked it a lot. Might be one of my favorite movies.
Wow. That is a big twist from going from not liking it to one of your favorites.
You know what I think happened also is, you know, back in college when I was Minecrafting movies more often, I think I got the original cut with the narration.
I've never seen that.
It was not good.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
And I feel like that was probably part of my non-enjoyment. I think that and the fact that I watched it on a laptop. And so I watched it on this TV that's right here, and there was no narration. I watched the final cut, and it was a really good movie. Like, it was the perfect balance of, like, just everything that I like about that genre of movie, and, like, just the pacing and everything felt, like, correct, you know, with that movie. I was surprised by how much I liked it.
Do you think the sequel helps you appreciate it a little bit more?
I definitely think that it does, but I also think that, like, the final cut of that movie was a huge boost forward that I wish that I had watched that the first time that I'd seen it. But I also do feel like the sequel did make me want to go back and rewatch it, because if it weren't for the sequel, I might not have revisited it.
Yeah. I think it's like an amazing looking movie. I need to watch it again, because both times I've watched it,
it's on Netflix right now.
I've fallen asleep.
I think until like the end of the month.
Start from where I fell.
It's definitely slow paced.
Yeah,
and especially with the lack of narration. Like, obviously, if you've seen it before, you know what happens or whatever. But there is a lot of, like, it's very, like, moody, you know, and you just sort of have to decipher these things and what they mean and stuff like that. But, like, I really like this. It's like, again, as a second viewing too. It's like, yeah, I sort of remembered what had happened more or less, but, like, again, revisiting it, knowing what had happened, and then taking the narration away, watching it on a big screen TV, like, all these things, it was like, oh shit, this is, like, really way better than I thought that it was, you know?
Cool.
So, yeah, that's it. That's the key to the city. That's all we got.
No, there's more of the show. There's more
to the show.
Yeah, believe it or not, we do have a Thought Cops Word of the Week, which this week's Word of the Week is bullet maxing. You may remember Jester maxing. Now, this is a different one called bullet maxing, in which maybe this is fake, maybe it's not, but it's this post on 4chan. It says, hey.
Yeah, here, I'm going to pull it up on the screen real quick. Yep. But the image is definitely something.
It says, hey, commandos, I started micro-dosing bullets by shooting myself in the leg with 177 pellets. And after 2 months, they stopped breaking my skin, so I've moved up to 22 pellets. My goal is to work up to 22 LR by the end of the, I don't know what that means, by the end of the year. And then one day to get to 0.223. Is this possible? Can I become bulletproof?
Move into larger
And then-
bullets, I assume.
I can't wait until
There's
all
a
the
picture of
comments that are like, that's not how you say that caliber of
I know. It's like, that's not the fucking point of the show, okay? This is not, yeah. But, yeah, and there's a accompanying image here. If you're watching, you can see it here. It's a guy with his leg just covered in tiny bullet holes, like from like a BB gun or something.
Right.
So, they
stopped breaking skin, so he's gonna become bulletproof.
I love the phrase micro dosing bullets. That's my favorite.
Could you imagine he did become bulletproof and we're all sitting here laughing at him like fucking morons?
Yeah, I assume this is what that show Invincible is about. It's about this dude.
Yeah. It is, yeah.
And good for him.
Anyway, speaking of good for people, Josh, do you want to, before we get to our listener voicemails, plug where we can find you on any and all platforms?
Sure. Well, I mean...
What's your address? The listeners are dying to know.
I'm technically on Twitter as _Sleepscience, but I
Was
never use
Sleepscience
Twitter.
taken?
Yes.
No, that sucks.
Yeah.
Thought Cops was taken too.
But yeah, just to restate, my podcasts are Consumer Reports, Untwisted. I also have a third podcast I didn't mention called Cinemocracy, where it's like 10 to 15 minute episodes where I review movies that people vote on the movies that I'm going to watch.
Oh, is that why you're always dropping in quizzes of like, what should I watch this week?
Yeah, I put straw polls. I link straw polls in Discord servers I'm in. Plus, there is a Cinemocracy Discord server.
Someone's fucking drag racing outside the apartment.
Also, probably not going to pick up on the mic.
We all just looked over.
But yeah, I if you look up Cinemocracy podcast in the descriptions of the episodes, you can find a link to that Discord. But also, I post the polls in the Thought Cops Discord of what movie should I watch, and then I watch that movie and I record an episode talking about it. It's just really simple, and it's just a way for me to watch more movies, basically.
Something you definitely need to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I wasn't watching enough movies.
So enable Josh by checking that out.
Yes. But like more so to like catch up on like classic movies or like older
The classics,
movies that
yeah.
I never got around to seeing.
For a while I was working my way through that what's it called? That list of like the AFI top 100 movies, and there's a lot of boring shit in there, so sort of gave up after a while. But speaking of giving up after a while, we're going to move on to
about that time of the show.
Final segment, the listener voicemails. If you would like to leave your own listener voicemail, you can give us a call at 312-788-7361, or you can record a little audio file on your phone and email it to us at thoughtcopspodcast@gmail.com.
It's that easy.
Please stop sending us spam mail to that email address.
That'll solve the problem.
Without further ado, gonna hit play.
I'm glad that Sleep Science is now a guest because cool guys like him are...
Wait, that was it? No, there was more to that
Yeah.
voicemail. Hold on.
I'm glad that Sleep Science is now a guest because cool guys like him are in real short supply.
Oh, that's very nice. And I just want to say, like, going forward to voicemails after this, that was a nice one. But just for future reference, I am insecure about my height. So if people going forward could not,
You should have said that a long time ago.
But that has
Because there's sort of a lot of people.
Yeah,
There's a lot of people that.
That was a very kind voicemail.
Yes.
Sorry we cut it off early.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck happened, but.
Here's something we haven't heard in a while.
Wow, what's this? What's this on the screen right now? What?
All the listeners at home smiling when they start hearing this, like, oh, it's back, oh my god, oh my god.
This is the Discord news for this week.
What happened to the quality?
Bringing you all
though?
the news worth
Sounds
reporting
terrible.
from the virtual streets of Neo Chicago. Kevin and Sleepscience had a lengthy discussion about quote-unquote cheese pizza in the quote-unquote food channel.
Definitely not 688 Tech Sub has plagued the server with mysterious pictures of people that no one knows who they are.
Heathcliff has dominated hashtag general as the comic has featured Garfield in every strip this week. To quote Heathcliff text, Heathcliff is having a Garfield arc. Whatever the fuck that means.
At the beginning of the week, Joey Avocado declared himself to be back. But no one really knew what he meant as he didn't leave or stop posting or anything like that.
Hashtag visual media became very The Matrix focused after the trailer for the 4th movie dropped. And Ionetrunner wouldn't shut up about some Matrix MMO game he played. I don't know, 20 years ago? Ask him, he's old.
Hashtag Gamer Americans continue to soy out over Nintendo. Some things just never change.
Hashtag Neo Chicago is now hashtag Neo Wuhan. Grant will be updating his TikTok bit accordingly. And now to our final segment of the program. Sports update.
Internet League Baseball has been on hiatus since the end of the 24th season, during which all the teams got sucked into a black hole. Baseball is currently elsewhere, but promises to return soon.
This week's Discord news has been presented to you by Joey Avocado and Ionetrunner.
Okay.
Well, thanks, fellas.
Guys, what the hell was that? What the fuck is Discord?
Yeah, that's...
I couldn't begin to tell you.
I'm like a guest on the show, and you're just going to play some weird, like, obscure shit like that? I have no reference for that.
This is a good bit you're doing.
This is something we have to talk about. This is a lot... We're alienating everybody who comes
Alienating ourselves, really, at the end of the day.
I don't think it's that alienating. I'm biased because I'm in the Discord.
No, yeah, I know. Hey, I'm glad to hear him back. I want to say, I'm sorry that I think something happened with the file compression, so it sounded kind of weird. But I want to say thank you. We're glad to have the news back. That's so great.
Yeah. Anyway.
Speaking of which, I might eat those words in just a second here.
Can't wait to hear this one.
Just look at the file name.
I see.
Here we go.
Okay, so I'm really sick of like fat women specifically like gaslighting us, grease lighting, I guess.
Oh my god.
There's a phenomenon. It's been a thing on the internet for so long, and it's so annoying. It's like some big fat white bitch who's like, oh, I made you fat, but your boyfriend doesn't seem to mind. So, first of all, we're bragging about being a homewrecker. That's really empowering. And two, you're just lying. This is just a fat woman cope. And my punishment is fat women need to be funny like fat men have historically been. Like Chris Farley or Patrice O'Neill, or at least be jolly. Don't be a hater.
Okay.
Really showed those fat women who's boss.
So she's saying we need a female Santa? Is that what I kind of got from that?
Yes.
I don't know.
I love the voicemails about just like fat people did this thing because people were calling them fat. And so they tried to own it, and I hate them for it.
Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah. All right, let's move on.
And good evening, Thought Cops. Once again, it is I, Leo the Incredible.
Oh, hello, Leo.
Possibly, very possibly gracing your voicemail on this Friday evening.
I made this
happen.
happen.
As this is,
Truly.
it is very unusual to leave a voicemail on a Friday night. Nonetheless, there is cause for celebration. Grant.
What?
Oh, yes, Grant, yes.
Oh no, I don't get this.
You have beaten Paper Mario.
Finally.
You defeated Super Mario RPG 2.
I guess so.
Although you didn't parade the body around the streets, there was a parade held. No bodies, but a parade. This is worthy.
Jeez.
It was
definitely
fun.
worthy. My friend, you've accomplished what I've been waiting for months. And for that, I am pleased. Kevin, give that man the most affirmative nod you've ever given a man.
I don't want these affirmative nods.
Damn it, Grant. I'm proud of you.
We're both doing it, yeah.
I'm proud of you.
We're all so proud. I was surprised because I know you just kind of hopped on the stream randomly, and I didn't realize you were going to like
I was
finish
like
off.
really, I was
Mario.
really close to the end.
Yeah.
And then it's like, then I had to move. And so it's like I boxed the N64 up, and then I was just like, I have to beat this game, and I have to do it tonight. And So it took like, I think, an hour and a half I streamed for, and I beat it. So
it had to happen.
This occasion.
Yeah.
Truly. And now I will not stream another game like that for quite some time. I do want to stream Thousand Year Door eventually, but sort of like what you did, Kevin, I might just do a fucking Super Nintendo game and then end up getting derailed and watching dumb YouTube videos. Like that's
whatever happens, you know.
Yeah. So I think this is the last one.
All right, what's going on, guys? Hope you're doing well. You don't hear from me from weeks and then twice in one episode. I'm sorry.
Apologies.
It has to be like this. My 2 minutes of hate this week is the word sustainable. And it's because the corporations have found out about sustainability.
Woke.
And that means the word is dead. It doesn't mean anything anymore. Everything now is sustainable.
Based.
Everything you can buy now is sustainable. And it's especially like with these, I don't know if you guys know this company, but it's called Swappy. And I get ads for this thing constantly. It's where you can buy refurbished phones. And they have an ad like, not only are you saving money, but it's more environmentally friendly and it's more sustainable and shit. It's like, no, you know what's sustainable? Not buying a fucking phone. I don't care if it's been refurbished. Don't buy shit. That's sustainable.
Yeah.
You're not sustainable by buying shit. I hate it. And you know that the people that fall for this are the kind of people that post infographics on their Instagram stories. So you know exactly where we stand on this topic of discussion over here. Because it's late at night and I'm tired, I'll let you guys come up with a punishment.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh,
bitch.
Thanks a lot, man.
Make us do our job.
Voicemail was titled "Sustain My Dick and Balls."
That's how he sent it, and I just left it. There is a good point with that. I feel like that's another one of those like corporate buzzwords that they just sort of throw out, and it's inherently meaningless, but that people derive some sort of meaning from it. And like you was saying, like that's like a lot of people that buy like sustainable cars, and it's like, look, the amount of fucking carbon output that was emitted into the atmosphere by creating that car was enormous. You buying a Tesla does not offset your carbon footprint. 1, 2, when you fucking plug your Tesla in and you get electricity into your car, where do you think that's electricity is coming from? The ground and the dead dinosaur oil that we fucking drilled up.
Oh.
So like, yeah, sustainable. I don't know. I don't think so.
Is that the last voicemail?
Last voicemail. We have to punish him.
Oh, shit.
We have to punish sustainable.
Sustainable? Fuck. This shit's not sustainable. These phones are breaking after 6 months. They're not that sustainable.
You just the Earth turns into the Earth turns into the movie WALL-E. It's just a big pile of garbage.
With a bunch of fat people on it.
Big garbage pile with a bunch of fat people. Hey, WALL-E, not supposed to be a documentary, folks. Not supposed to be a blueprint.
Oh, yeah, how the heck did that happen? Well, if that inspired you to leave your own voicemail, give us a call, 312-788-7361, or send an audio file to thoughtcopspodcast@gmail.com. If you want to support the show, get extra bonus content, help the show out. It makes us feel good. What am I trying to say? Basically, is head on over to patreon.com/thoughtcops. You get all kinds of bonus content. You get to hang out in the live chat. Somebody just posted a picture of me holding a squirt gun, looks like this last gun.
The last gun. That's the last one that exists. We got to buy more.
So yeah, it's a good time. Check it out. You can see stuff like that. Patreon.com/thoughtcops. Josh, Sleep Science, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I'm glad we can finally make it happen. People have been asking for a while, when is Sleep coming on the show?
They're always asking.
And here
every
it is.
day, every day they were pounding down our doors.
And guess what? Now they're gonna say, "When's he coming back?"
Right.
So
when's he gonna get that gumshoe status?
Well, I'm never leaving. I'm staying right here.
Yeah.
Well, you have to leave. I live here. You don't. You have to go back to your home.
All right. Well, I'm taking your cat.
Well, it's not my cat.
Well, then you can take it. Then.
No, not
Yeah,
more.
you can have it then. That's fine.
Thanks everybody for listening. Hope you all doing well.
That's a wholesome episode.
See you, Space Cop.
See ya.